Go for it.
Friggin' what up, dude? Strider Wilson, I'm the host of this podcast that's mine. Going to be called History is Dank. History is Dank with Strider Wilson. Dankness from the past. Friggin' what up, dude? Welcome back to another ep of History is Frickin' Dank, dude. It's just so dank. So damn dank, dude. I'm your host, Strider Wilson, dude. Feeling fired up right now, dude. What up, Aaron, dude? What's crapping, dude?
What up?
Chilling, dude. Freaking stoked for another ep, dude. Stoked that the Dodgers are going to be facing your Cards, dude.
Yep, I will be there.
That's going to be so sick, dude. It's going to be so freaking dank. Dude, you're going to be brave, rock your Cards jersey.
Yep.
But what do you do? What's special about your jersey that you were saying?
That it has no name on the back. So if you're walking behind me, maybe you won't think to attack me.
Yeah, you hear that?
Cool.
You hear that, psycho Dodger fans? Psychos. Let the players figure it out on the field and let the fans enjoy the game, dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of game, dude, in my recent history, I was, dude, you know how long it had been since I played some pickup basketball, Aaron? Guess. Just guess.
I mean,
let me give you a hint.
I'm going to say at least a year and a half.
Okay, you're dealing in years, and that's correct. 4 years.
Wow.
It had been 4 years, and I've been working out in the Q team, dude. I've been doing hit workouts, throwing around the 35s, dude, trying to get the upper girdle jacked, but also at the same time doing some functional strength stuff, taking care of the lower legs and stuff, you know, pumping that T through my rig, dude, and doing some core so I can transfer energy. Got out of there without an injury. Very happy, dude.
Nice. Very
happy, and I want to give a shout out to Cody, who is the best pickup basketball body, which is a 5'8" jacked dude who's young and has a motor. So he's just running all over the court, and I get to sit back, get a board with my 6'3" lanky ass frame, and just pull in a board and kick it out to Cody, who's running around, and he can shoot. So it's just so nice, dude. Just really nice to play with.
Yeah. I like being the guy who you know, you score, your team doesn't score. You get scored on,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, I'll take out the ball.
Yes.
Everybody run down the court. I'm gonna fucking jack this thing down to somebody down by the boards.
I agree. I don't think it's smart to have your best player, unless your best player really has a strategy. But like, I'll check the ball in, because then the play can get started and the dude can penetrate. Cody can penetrate right after.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, dude. The guy needs to get casted in a porno. He's a porn star body, dude. This guy. Cody, beast, dude. I saw him driving away, windows down, BMW, blasting some freaking, Imagine Dragons, just posting up after playing some ball, dude. I was like, this guy's living a good ass life, dude.
He might be a porn star.
Yeah, honestly, that's when I went to bed that night, thinking about the dubs that he earned for us, and I was just a small part of, yet I was a part of them. I was like, Cody's definitely in some pornos, and if he hasn't been, he should be. He should be.
This is full court.
So this was only half court, so I'm easing my way back in. 3-on-3 half court.
No,
full court.
Totally cool.
Full court.
I was talking full court when I was talking about throwing the ball down the...
I hear you. And you just need 5 players. Otherwise, you get guys who are just kind of hanging back, getting the lobs, cherry picking, which is kind of not chill. But I do love full court. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I know. I would do the same thing. I do love full court because I get my full cardio, but I'll tell you, I got enough cardio. Came out with no injury, dude. Could have, ripped an Achilles on my first pivot, but got out of it nice. And just shout out to Cody. And I was playing with Max from Friday Beer. So what up, Max, dude?
Max is great.
Max is the man. And Max, I used to call my buddy Dustin the luxury smith because the guy can stroke it so well. Max is also the luxury. The guy doesn't miss from beyond the arc. It's just beautiful. Wow. And we had a few nice give and goes. And I'll tell you right now, I'm telling you, a bounce pass, dude, you catch a guy in a back cut and a bounce pass, which I was able to do with Max, and he finishes it with his left. I mean, it's akin to love at first sight. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I'm like, we keep doing that shit. I'm like, dude, we're celebrating Thanksgiving together. That's where that level of and the eye contact. And did I force it after that? I did, and missed it a few times. But he forgave me. He goes, all right, I see you. He gave me the good idea. You know what I mean? Which is a euphemistic for horrible pass. Very unathletic, but I like what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Take that shit to the bank, dude. So, Aaron, it's October, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this because Cards are playing the Dodgers. Playoff baseball's here.
Yep.
But, you know, October's a little spooky month. We had lightning and thunder in Los Angeles. That doesn't happen. We're not supposed to have seasons out here.
Nope.
And it's spooky. And so for today's episode, we're going to be covering the Salem witch trials, dude. Legit. And I'm like thinking to myself, we've all heard of them, but what the hell exactly is going on over there? So that's what we're going to be cutting up and fleshing out today, the Salem witch trials, dude. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Dadgrass, dude. Dadgrass is legal, organic, smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind, dude. Their 100% pre-organic, pre-rolled joints are very low in THC and high in CBD, dude. So you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear dome, dude. That's what fires me up, dude. And it's not just for dads, dude. I'm all fired up on the joints, dude. I'm holding the mom grass joint, dude. Sparked this puppy up with my fiance, enjoyed. Watched some, you know, we watched some shows together. It just mellows us up. We go to the balcony, dude. Sonny, our dog, watches us, dude. And he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, Sonny, sit. And he sits and we're all relaxing. So I love it, dude. And, you know, Dadgrass evokes that bygone era. This is a history podcast of when, you know, hemp was smokable, dude. It wasn't going to give you a bad time or make you get in your own head and ask yourself, hey, do my friends even like me when you're all smoking together? Nah, dude. Dadgrass just does it right, dude. It's drinking a freaking glass of wine, not the whole bottle. So you got to treat yourself, dude, because right now Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/dank. That's dadgrass.com/dank for 20% off your first order. Legit, dude. All right, dude. Salem witch trials, dude. I was almost gonna say rich trials, which honestly is not so not befitting. However, that phrase should have gone. Because, dude, it's this mix of, you go, I want to ask the questions, first of all, what the hell exactly went down? First of all, why the hell are people thinking there's witches going on, dude? And third of all, fucking what, dude? You know? Just like, almost like fighting. Just, I asked myself, dude, like a hypothesis if it was a science project, you know, and I was a tough fifth grader, like, you know, I'd be a hypothesis like, why does steel melt when affected by heat? I would just ask the hypothesis, fucking what, dude? I just cruise around. That'd be my science project on like one of those 3-tiered poster boards. Just become a jacked little fifth grader, dude. Just blank board and just be, dude. Like my hypothesis was, how many kids can I pin in this class, dude? And my hypothesis was, fucking what, dude, are they going to do about it? You know? That's an A project right there. In conclusion, fucking every kid in this class is now my bitch, dude. What? But also conclusion, it really didn't make me feel that good. You know, temporarily it was okay, but I had to pin a lot of my friends and they didn't like it. And I asked myself, why am I pinning these kids? And maybe that's, you know, a follow-up project. What makes me want to be a jacked fifth grader and keep pinning kids? You know? What's going on inside that's making me act this way on the outside? Maybe it's because I'm just too jacked at too young of an age and I don't have the right outlet, you know?
Also, don't get jacked that young. It'll stunt your growth.
It's true. Just do push-ups, dude. Body weight exercise only. You know, when you're a young kid. Do as many push-ups as you want, many body squats as you want, but, you know, save the weights for when you're in high school. Although,
don't do this. There were these guys in my high school who were younger than I was. All they did was sit-ups.
I love just doing core.
Just core.
It's like they knew TikTok was coming, dude. Just putting on beanies and having a jacked core.
Yeah,
what a great look.
They kind of looked. They had like Tupac. Tupac was super jacked in the core and no chest.
You're right.
And these guys were kind of it was very strange.
Dude, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. You want to have a jacked core. You want to have that six pack. You know, you don't want the only six pack you got in the house to be the IPA in the fridge. You know, so. I love it, but that's hilarious, dude. Just going to the gym and doing calves and core.
It looked very silly.
No chest, dude. All right, dude. So the Salem witch trials, we've all heard of them, and the basically what you know about them is they're a series of hearings and prosecutions of people accused of witchcraft in colonial Massachusetts. Okay, not Salem, Oregon, which is the capital. We're in Massachusetts here.
Was it people, or was it just women?
Okay. Just women, but men were put on trial for only women. Yes, but men would be on trial for like accomplices or hiding or not coming forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you were a man, which we're getting into like the sexism and the classism that's coming in, which is basically all it is. But February 1692 and May 1693. And it says more than 200 people, because, some men were accused.
Do you think in the 1690s, people were like, dude, it's like 69 in the middle of this year.
That's what I thought of too.
In this decade.
I know. And they should be 69ing. And dude, but here's the thing, they'd be mad about it because they thought if you were a witch, they're like, oh, you're turning into a cat and then staying out late at night and going to secret meetings or orgies. That's what they talk about. They're going to orgies, and I don't like that. It's like, dude, you're just sad you didn't get invited, bro. Maybe you should get more jacked in your core, and people might be like, all right, this core could probably, it's functional, dude. Let's get this guy in an orgy. Let's do some body shots. That's all I'm saying, dude.
I'm just saying the numbers. The 1690s has 69 in the middle.
I know, I love that.
Yeah.
I think
they should be high-fiving that whole decade.
That's what I mean. It should have been a decade of benevolence. Instead, it was this decade of, well, at least part of it, witch hunts. Which a witch hunt is actually a misnomer, Aaron.
Yeah.
It was efforts to identify witches rather than pursuit of an individual who were already thought to be witches.
Mm-hmm.
Because anyone could be a witch, we'll come to learn, because it just becomes, this I forget the word for it, but it's like the group mind, and the hive mind becomes toxic and turns on itself. So that's basically what happens here. So a witch, just in case you were wondering, is considered to be a follower of Satan who traded their souls for his assistance. It was believed that they employed demons to accomplish magical deeds, that they changed from human to animal form, and from one human form to another, that animals acted as their familiar spirits. So, you have your familiar, whatever animal. It could be a rat or a cat or, a dragon, dude. Sick. Or friggin' an elk, dude. And that they rode through the air at night to secret meetings and orgies, which is sick. There's little doubt. So there is proof that people did worship the devil. People do today. In an attempt to practice sorcery and harmful intent. I mean, you go to like Roman bathhouses and people are putting curses to Roman gods for other people. So like that stuff is true. People curse other people. They pray to their gods to do it or devil to do it. However, it's never been proven that everyone's ever embodied the concept of a witch as I just described, of like riding around at night. Like no one's seen anyone riding on a broom flying. I'm sure someone's probably seen someone in an orgy. That's pretty sick. But they're probably just, like, this is witchcraft. It was probably just a bunch of dudes who were like watching their wives who could have been cheating on them with, jacked dudes in the village, and their wives were actually having orgasms and enjoying themselves. And they're like, what is this witchcraft? My wife must be a witch. Deborah's a witch. It's there's no way it's not that I'm a bad listener and I can't make my wife come. There's no way that's the problem with my marriage here. It has to be that she's a witch. She's worshiping the devil. I saw it. Her and a bunch of her friends were out, feeding each other grapes and shit, and coming. And I don't like that. I don't like it. I think that's like the essence of overall witch hunting. In Europe, between 40,000 and 100,000 women were executed over 3 centuries.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot of dudes who just aren't able to just tell themselves, like, maybe you should just go down on your wife, dude.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe. Dude, it makes sense. Like, it's just fear of, like, people are supposed to be in their place in society in that era. It's like a woman should be getting married and if she, like, doesn't do that, it, like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then they have to, sort it out and file it, and it just happens that this perfect blend of like religious fanaticism, lack of education, probably, the stories that they're being told. And this is going to be, turning the page, leaving Europe a little bit. I'm sure they had their own reason, and it was their own mixture of, economics and lack of crops that year, and, rivalry between different towns and whatever, and religion that led to those witch hunts. But in Salem, it's actually pretty well documented, like kind of what exactly went on. And I was pretty stoked to read it, dude. Like, basically the witch trials and executions came about. And if we're just going to say your thesis statement, if you're your jack fifth grader and you're hypothesizing or whatever, you're going to say came about as a result of a combination of church politics, family feuds, hysterical children, which is interesting. We'll get into that a little bit more. And all of which unfolded into a vacuum of political authority. So it's just power. that people are seeking, and they're seeking to do it through religion, money, and then finally like through these insane, outrageous claims.
Yep.
So what's the sitch in Salem in 1692, dude? High five me and Aaron because we just said 69, dude. So there are two Salems basically. There's the Salem Port, right, community of Massachusetts Bay, known as Salem Town, and that was roughly 10 miles from the Salem Village, which is a classic riverside. I mean, this is basically, if you're looking at it right here, what it comes down to is inland versus coastal bros fighting each other, you know? The inland bros are all about, you know, maybe they're more of on a jiu-jitsu track, and they have French bulldogs and calf tattoos of, like, you know, the California bear. And then you got your Huntington bros who have, you know, British bulldogs. They're more about, you know, sort of approaching mixed martial arts through a boxing method, right? Not maybe their ground game's not as good, and their calf tattoos would feature the entire state of California, but like a star over SoCal. You know?
Yeah.
And so it's basically, you guys you're cut from the same block. We're all the same people, you know? We just have these small little differences in beliefs. And sadly enough, in Salem, it's that times 10, dude. And it especially gets exacerbated. You have got basically two families here. It's sort of Shakespearean. You got the Porters and the Putnams, okay? And then they basically there's squabbles and people are suing each other all the time. You know, it's basically wealthy merchants overcharging the people up the river for stuff, and they're like, that's not right, you're just taxing us, and you're making money on the cut here. And then there's land disputes, and so there's all sorts of shit going on, right? And the main two wealthy families, the Porters and the Putnams, are going at it, and everyone's problems can sort of be umbrellaed under theirs as well, right? But what happens is the Putnams in 1689, dude, so remember the trials start in 1692, they bring in this dude Samuel Parris, who is a fucking schmoll, dude.
Oh.
This guy, Aaron, is a schmoll, bro. He's a preacher, dude, and get this, dude. He was going to Harvard College, which is Harvard University now, and he did not graduate, dude. He was in the process of changing his career from a career as a businessman, and then he's like, you know, I don't want to do business. I think I'll go into ministry. So yeah, dude, you know, it was his vocation from the beginning. You know, God really spoke to him and was like, you know, I think I know how you can make money, dude. Go be a minister, bro. Yep. So he's there to make money, and in fact, when he comes to Salem, he's immediately arguing his contract. He's like, I want to own part of the building that I'm preaching out of, so it can't get sold under, and so if I do sell or move up, I'll make money on that. So this dude's in it to make money, dude. And then on top of that, he's coming up from Barbados, and so he brings with him, and this is important, he brings two slaves with him, John Indian, a man, and Tituba, a woman. And their ethnic origins are a little unclear. They could have been of African heritage, but they also might have been Native Caribbeans cultures there. And I'm not sure exactly what tribe it would have been, but in any case, it's sort of an important distinction because, and it's slightly unclear because the stories they'll tell in their cultural heritage, they'll basically watch over the kids of Paris and tell them some stories that will come into an effect in a little bit. So he brings them, and he's a slave owner, so this guy's obviously the fucking schmoll to the utmost, but it wasn't uncommon in this time that we're dealing with here. And Paris has a very orthodox Puritan theology, dude. So he's going on and on about hell and fire, and you already have this divided town, and so the congregation's not exactly stoked on that. And so if you're not a member to his congregation, when it comes time for like communion, he asks people to leave. So he divides the town even more, and it's basically the poor people, because they're not going to be the ones to tithe. So he's like, get out. And that's basically saying your soul isn't going to be as hooked up by me about what I'm about to give you. So you guys all got to get out and wait outside. You can listen to me preach, because I like that. I like an audience because of ego. But when it comes time for, you know, the communion and everything like that to be celebrated, you got to bounce, and then you can come back in for, like, you know, singing the last hymn or whatever. So you now have a town that you have people that don't like each other based on class, property, but now it's heightened to the ultimate thing, religion. And it's faith-based and can just be argued nonstop. You're arguing about things that can't be proven. You're just straight up beliefs, right? Agreeing to disagree. And this religion thing gives people the Putnams and the frickin' Porters and the people in the villagers versus the port town, it gives people the frickin' excuses they need to go after each other, right? So, straight up, this guy's been a schmoll. He's preaching. The town's getting more and more divided, and shit's getting amped up, bro. You have this freaking brew of rivalry of class, property, and religion, dude, and it's a brew like a witch's brew. See what I did there, Aaron? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a comedy podcast, dude. A very funny guy, dude. So look out, dude. You're gonna have puns like that coming at you fast, bro. Look at he split, dude. Better duck your head, dude. So here's where shit starts to amp up. And of course it starts with the schmoll, dude. Freaking Parris, dude. Who spells his name with 2 R's. Kidding me, bro? Although if you're Aaron and you spell your name with 2 A's, that's legit, dude. So I mentioned earlier Tituba. Parris is the woman who's a slave of Parris. She was telling, and they say, voodoo tales, but who knows what religion it is, but they say voodoo tales to Parris's daughter, Betty, age 9, and niece Abigail Williams, age 11, and their friend, Ann Putnam Jr., right? The wealthy guy's daughter. And they begin to indulge in fortune telling and stuff, which is, hearsay. And so that's against religion and everything. And they basically begin to act out insanely and have, all 3 of them have these insane fits where they'd scream, make odd noises. They would throw things. They'd contort their bodies strangely. They'd complain that they would feel like someone was biting them, and that they'd constantly have pinching sensations. And so all 3 of them. So if it's one kid, you're like, what's going on? But all 3 of them were saying the same stuff. Super, super gnarly. And just basically, and if you look at it from a modern angle, it could be some sort of combination of asthma, maybe encephalitis, Lyme disease, epilepsy, probably child abuse. And this is the most interesting thing, ergotism. Have you ever heard of that? ERGOTISM?
No.
So this last disease is caused by eating bread or cereal made of rye that has been infected with the fungus ergot, ERGOT, which can elicit vomiting, choking, fits of hallucination, in the sense of something crawling on one's skin. So the hallucinogen LSD, ever heard of it? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, is a derivative of ergot. So basically, and this year was a particularly cold winter, and they would have stored the bread longer and it would have had greater chances of developing this fungus ergot. So, and everyone was eating the same stuff. So basically eating this bread, and you ask yourself, why does it affect the kids over the adults or whatever? It's who knows, maybe they probably spent more time at home inhaling this fungus and stuff and being around the spores longer, maybe sneaking off to steal a little bit of it, who knows. And it's probably some other mix of them just being young kids and told these stories. But dude, they're basically tripping out on LSD, and then everyone wants to throw Tituba under the bus, saying, oh, it's voodoo tales. But then look at Parris, dude, this freaking pastor schmoll. He's preaching fire and brimstone, constantly talking about hell, pain, anguish, suffering, atoning for your sins, fear, fear, fear. And then you got these kids tripping out on LSD. So he's just as much responsible, if not more responsible. And dude, imagine being a kid and you got to imagine this preacher going for it. This dude coming from Barbados, he's probably talking if you don't atone for your sins, it's the devil's going to come down and get you, and your soul's going to be taken down, and you're going to suffer. Dude, he's talking like that. Dude, if I saw my dad talking like that to a group of people, I'd be freaked the fuck out, dude. And so these little kids, and then Tituba's probably telling them a story of yeah, dude, we have I've literally know nothing about voodoo, but it's probably she wasn't trying to strike fear in the hearts of these kids like the pastor was trying to do so they would act well. Tituba was probably just trying to be tell them a nice bedtime story, maybe 1 or 2 fear-based tales if they misbehave. All I'm saying is, dude, the bulk of the share doesn't totally fall on her.
Yeah.
But what's gnarly, dude, is you have this ergot stuff, which is probably the true responsible thing for these fits of vomiting and stuff, and that's where they say that the devil's in them and everything, and they're trying to exorcise it out. And so it's just gnarly. It just becomes this perfect like storm, really, of like all this stuff. And this behavior mirrors some children. There was a Boston family in 1688 who were believed to have been bewitched. Probably also ergot was to blame. But there was a minister who wrote about it in a book, and then that book traveled around. And so, and they're in Salem, which isn't too far outside of Boston. So they probably know of those tales. So it's in their mind. And so basically this just becomes like confirmation bias, right? So it's just gnarly, dude. But they bring in a doctor, dude, this dude, William Griggs, right, dude? And he comes in, he looks at them, and he's all, yeah, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on. It's definitely witches. he's like, yeah, dude, this is terrible. And then he also finds that Tituba was going to make them a witch cake. And a witch cake is baked by Tituba, and she does believe in witches, so that's, it doesn't help her case out. And to try to ferret out the supernatural powers out of these girls. And you know what a witch cake is?
No.
It's just cake, but instead of using water, you use urine. You pee in it, dude. But if you think about it, it's disgusting. But if you think about it, dude.
No, I don't want to think about it.
They ate bad bread, so eating some nasty ass cake might cancel shit out. And urine's like sterile and like kill the fungus. I bet if you pissed on that fungus before you ate the bread, like all I'm saying is the logic isn't right, but it's definitely not too. It definitely maybe makes slightly more sense than the logic is. Yep, these little girls are witches.
This is why whenever someone says, "Do you want to go back in time?" I always say no.
Dude, I know, man. I
don't want to go back. I want to go forward.
Yeah, we're operating in an era where people can't read, where the pastor's held up on a pedestal. Governors are corrupt. They're taking care of and we'll learn that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Doctor, even if you are a doctor and like trying to do your best, like I'm not saying this dude William Griggs is corrupt. I'm just saying like he just doesn't know shit.
Don't know shit.
Yeah. So then these girls get called they're called witches, right? But Putnam's daughter's acting like one of them, so he wants to have like trials and stuff and go about it, and so like to defend his daughter. And they end up saying, and the trials become so whack, dude, how they go off, and we'll get into it right here. But first, dude, before we get into it, dude, I need to remind you that once again, this episode is brought to you by Dadgrass, dude. Let me ask you a question. Did you ever been just too damn high? We've all been there. All right. With today's weed, sometimes it's a dangerous game, dude. Dadgrass, is reviving the pleasure of the casual smoke so you can chill out without the stress, dude. And that's what I'm all about, dude. I'm all about sparking up this nice, and I'm about the joints, dude. Go to dadgrass.com, check out what they got, dude. But I particularly like these joints because that's how I feel. Like, I'm a history dude. How you used to do it at like a festival, or you cruise over to your buddy's house, dude. You plop on the couch, you're putting a movie on, and you're gonna relax, dude. You smoke a joint, dude, and it's communal. It brings everyone together. It's a fun freaking time, dude. I'm doing it with my fiance. Yes, it's Dadgrass. It's not just for dads. It's for everyone to have a nice time, dude. Okay? I do it with my fiance, dude. We go out to our balcony. We smoke. We've been making casseroles lately. It's a fun time. And once we're done, doing the chopping and mixing everything together and the sauce is heated up, we pop it in the oven, and that's the time where we go over there and we just mellow out a little bit. It just helps us relax, chill. It's drinking the glass of wine, not the whole bottle. I swear by that analogy. It's freaking legit, dude. And here's the best thing too. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S., dude. You don't have to deal with a weird weed dealer now, or, go to the hip store, dude. It comes right to you, dude. It's getting your buzz in a chill and convenient way, dude. So cruise over, dude. Right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/dank, dude. Go to dadgrass.com/dank for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/dank. Treat yourself, dude. All right, dude. So these trials, Aaron, I mean, they ran smoothly. They were very just. People got due process of the law, and Yeah, dude, it was great.
Totes.
So, basically the trial was, and if there's any takeaway from the Salem witch trials, it's you are not, the importance of innocence until proven guilty. In the court of public opinion, we still operate this way, and this is all public opinion, is what this court is basically. And there are emergency tribunes to overhear stuff, and everyone comes in and like, I am the guy who's going to come in and figure it out. I am just, let's hear what people have to say. And basically it's like, well, prove you're not a witch. Well, how the hell do I do that, dude? When you think I am, and the claims are just like, and it was the worst. The system was set up, if you told someone else, if you told the court that you thought someone else was a witch, or you can confirm that they were, they would let you off. And they would say, okay, it was very Puritan, was that God will give you your suffering when it comes your time. But if you were accused of a witch and you had pride and you were like, no, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just as much a witch as your pet lizard's a witch. What the hell are you talking about? If you said something like that, you had some sort of logic to your thinking, guess what? Dead.
The devil's tongue.
Mm-hmm, that's the devil's tongue. You're talking wrong. So, of course, Tituba, she's not the first one executed. There's a lady, Sarah Good, who's just a beggar. This other lady, Sarah
Her last
Osborne.
name is Good.
I know, dude, exactly. And they're all just people they don't like. There's this lady, Sarah Osborne. She was elderly and in bed, and earlier in her life was accused of having romantic involvement with an indentured servant, and people didn't like that about her. Obviously, no one cares about Tituba. And she was not going to tell anyone. She's like, no, this lady Good and this other lady Osborne are fine. But then finally, when she just lived, they were like, no, are you sure? Tell us. Basically, they make her say in front of the magistrates, basically what they wanted to hear. And they're like, yep, I was visited by the devil. The devil made me sign a book. And then I saw the other lady's names in the book. The best part about that is she can't read. So she's like, oh, but miraculously she was able to read the book. But they're like, yeah, no, this is devil magic stuff. Temporarily she could read. Basically just tells them what they want to hear.
Man.
And so, but at this point they would just imprison you. You were just put in prison, and obviously it wasn't good being in prison. And then on May 27th, 1692, after weeks of, these are all informal hearings at this point, this dude, William Phipps, cruises in. He's the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony. He's the guy who's like, look, we need a court of oyer, which means to hear, and terminer, to decide. This court of oyer and terminer, these are words that sound legit, and I'm going to say them because I'm legit, because no. So basically because I'm wealthy, and that's how I'm your governor. So he cruises in, dude, and he now has his court of oyer and terminer. And then people are now forced to defend themselves without aid of counsel. So you don't get due process of the law, even though the people are citizens at this point, British citizens, right?
Yeah.
So they cruise in, but it's all different. It's basically, there's this thing called spectral evidence, dude, and that is claims by victims that they had been seen and been attacked, pinched, bitten, contorted, whatever, by specters of the accused. So basically, someone would come in. Aaron, if it was you, I could be like, I felt like I got pinched last night, and I feel itchy now. And the reason is because I think Aaron's demon did it to me, and because he's a demon now. So you could see where going back.
Yeah, just little squabbles. Between your neighbors.
Yep. Turn into this now. So it's the people in the village town, and guess what? It just happens that people who are friends, who are enemies of the Putnams, get accused of being in the witch quite often, and get accused of being and put up on the stand and have to testify quite often. So basically they're getting rid of their rivals so they can get more land and power and all that type of shit, right? But here's the thing. They're playing with fire, and it gets way too out of control.
Oh, yeah. And
it even comes back where the governor, this dude who comes in, oh, yeah, terminer, his own wife gets accused of witchcraft, and he goes, hold on, guys. I don't think, really, when you think about it, this, what the hell was the name of the fucking, accusing that they could do? Spectral evidence, that's it. He goes, hold on, guys, time out. Spectral evidence turns out maybe a little bit shaky. Maybe we need to reconsider this stuff. My wife is not a witch, please. I know my wife. My wife and I have good missionary-style sex every third Wednesday of quarterly. Okay? Quarterly. So that's the third month of the quarter, the third Wednesday of that month is when we have sex, and it's pretty nice. Okay? So trust me, we know each other. There's no way that she's a witch. So then he starts getting rid of that, and he establishes a superior court of judicature, which I don't even know what the hell that is, dude. Sounds legit as hell, dude, which was instructed not to admit spectral evidence. Okay? So, but of the 56 persons that were already indicted, at this point, 3 were convicted, and along with everyone held in custody, had been pardoned by Phipps. So basically, he lets people go. But that's not before the hangman took his toll. 19 persons. They did hang a dude. Were killed by hanging at the gallows. So basically, just told they were witches and killed for no good reason. It's insane. And not until 250 years later, there was an official apology issued by the state of Massachusetts, because technically this was the state of Massachusetts. The governor is coming down. They're the ones doing that. In the early 1700s, a monetary compensation was given to the victims of the families. They were like, look, we fucked up. And they held a day of fasting. They're like, sorry, guys, we really fucked up. I don't know what got into us, besides like probably just greed and fanaticism and bad bread. Actually, bad bread got into you guys, but it was just bad bread on us. So let's not eat for a little bit.
Let's go pee in a cake.
Yeah.
Call it a draw.
Look, you guys can pee in my mouth. Okay, everyone's victims of the family just pee in our mouths, and we're cool. Is that cool? I don't know, but it's crazy, dude. And I mean, that's basically your rundown. It's these insane trials. 19 people hung, and I looked it up too. I wanted to get into like sort of these myths that we have about witches and stuff. Long noses, that goes to anti-Semitism. People they were outcasts or out-of-towners. This is obviously a Puritan society if you were Jewish or whatever, and they didn't like that. So that's like where the iconography of a witch came from. So it's all tied to race. It's all just bad, basic bad shit. The broomstick myth is due to ergotism. So you'd be in pain, and you'd feel like crawling and stuff on your skin. So you'd have a woman suffering from ergotism would use a broom to hold herself up. So she wouldn't be floating on it, but she'd be like using it as a cane. So that's where this floating on a broomstick thing came from. Cackling or laughing, the witch's laugh, was tripping on LSD, right? Like I just said, they're hallucinogenic. And the crazy part is, because of this ergotism in the hallucinations they were having, like sometimes I'm sure the victims of this, these are all victims, the people that were put to death, weren't doing themselves any favors because they could have been sick at that time too. Vomiting, dehydrated, not thinking right, hallucinating. Dude, you ever had the fucking flu? It sucks, bro.
No.
And then you're hallucinating, like you don't know what you're saying or what you're believing, and then you're put under intense pressure and stress. Like you might even believe what you're saying at that point. So it's just all crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just crazy.
The people
dude.
accusing them are having this ergotism. The people who are accused are having this ergotism. Like,
it's nuts, dude.
And none of them have the language to understand that they're just all tripping balls.
Yeah.
On bread.
Dude, 100%. 100%, dude.
Wow.
It's insane.
I'd never heard about this.
No, neither did I. I was really interested. And a dude wrote in about it, suggesting this in the ergotism angle too, and there was a lot of articles on it, so it was interesting. Then I just wanted to get into some myths of this, because you always hear about like a witch being burned at the stake. Mm-hmm. That did happen. No witches were burned at the stake in Salem. They were hung, and that's what would happen in Europe as well. Typically, you'd be hung or beheaded first, but then they would burn the body afterwards, being like, we don't want anything reanimation or anything like that. So they would burn you, and it'd be at a stake. But typically, you were already killed before that. I think like the last witch executed in Europe was like in the late 1700s in Switzerland. So like even after the Salem witch hunts, but like the peak of the stuff was like early 1500s, 1300s. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure it's a different podcast, but like studying the resurgence and rise of, because it would come in waves. Like it'd be like 50, and then it'd be like, a ton of executions in like around 1600 in like Italy. And then 50 years later in like the adjacent village in Italy, the same thing would happen again. And it's like, well, what circumstances are going on around that? Probably socioeconomic, probably families battling each other. In any case, dude, very gnarly, tragic. Our hearts go out to the families and the victims, even years and years later. And the state recognized that they fucked up, dude. All right, dude, let's take a few cues, then bone out. What do you say, dude?
Let's do it.
All right, dude.
Oh, wait, so what was the total?
19 total killed.
Only 19?
Only 19. Wow, okay. Yeah.
I thought it was like 100 or
like 56. I mean, hundreds of people were put on trial. I think 56 indicted.
And most were just imprisoned for a bit?
Most imprisoned, but 19 hanged. Wow. And another 5 died in custody. So 19 plus 5, 24 total deaths.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How many ate a piss cake?
I don't think anyone ate piss cake, dude. They wouldn't let them.
Man.
They wouldn't let them. Dude,
I want to know those numbers.
I'll eat a piss cake, dude. I would say, look, let me eat piss cake and guys, I'll go home and be chill. Whatever you want me to say, dude. All right, dude, it's TQ. My dog Strider, dude. I'm writing to you with a question that me and my dog Garrett feel could use a little more discussion. We're grabbing a couple margs at a local Mexican joint when a particular question arose: the nature of schmoality. What makes a true schmoll? At this point in our lives, we both witnessed a handful of schmolls, all in different contexts with different dog packs. As the conversation developed, one theme stayed true to the nature and of different schmolls that we had encountered: a forced effort to keep the friendship/relation afloat. We delved into the complexities of schmolliness and overwhelmed ourselves. We know this has been mentioned on the pod as well as going deep, but we were curious to hear your opinion on this topic, and perhaps you yourself could delve into the origin of the schmoll history on History is Dank, dude. Either way, if you could answer this as a question that would fire us up. Love how far the pod in your comedy career has come. Thank you, dude. And Doc, excited to see what's in store. Thank you, dudes. Also, give a shout out to Aaron. Love hearing him starting to open up to the Stokers through conversation on your pod. Love it, dude. Much love the boys from Maine. Legit, dude. Yeah, Aaron's a fucking beast, dude. So schmolliness, I mean, obviously, dude, this, Pastor Parris was a schmoll, dude. I get it. I think it's just a contrast of vibe. I think that's really it. But then, you do still continue to see yourself hanging out. Like, I go back to the American Pie model of like Stifler's that group's schmoll. Like, they're all boys, and he has to have some sort of vulnerability, and like he's probably longtime friends with one of the boys in your crew, and then he continues to hang out, and it's like I would be a schmoll to a crew of like a biker gang, or dudes who are like super jacked, or dudes who can still dunk. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that, and I'd be like still trying to kick it and hang out with them, and you'd be like, well, this guy's kind of a schmoll. He can't really dunk, and he doesn't wear leather, but he's like kind of here. The problem is that you get alpha schmolls like a Stifler who come in and are like, boys, here's what we're doing, and you're like, nah, dude, that's really not what we're feeling right now. And that would happen in like college at ASU. This dude would call us all squids if we didn't want to pick up sticks, which aka meant play Halo. We're like, no, we're just chilling right now. We kind of just want to play beep pong. And he'd be like, you guys are squids. And we'd be like, no, dude, you're a schmoll. We wouldn't say we didn't know that then, but we felt it.
Yeah.
So it's complex in its nature, but I would say really what it comes down to is an independent thinking dude, or a dude with his own independent vibe, yet through extraordinary circumstances, whether it be a team sport, a long-time friendship, a workplace setting, something of that nature that keeps the group together, And it can be a beautiful thing, and you do need your schmoll, because without, then who becomes the next one? And that's sort of tying us back into this witch hunt thing, because I think it is integral, because it is bonding. It's like aliens will bond all of us and make us get rid of our differences. It's like schmolls have to be there to bring the group together and be stronger. You need to have some adversity. It makes you better. So it's a beautiful thing. While annoying and sometimes taxing, it's still a beautiful thing, and will be your friend. He'll still have your back. He's not going to sandbag you. If he's sandbagging you trying to hook up your girlfriend, that's not schmoll. That's just like something he might do, but is he going to actually execute it or really have a chance? No, because he's a schmoll. What do you think, Aaron?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the contrast in vibes is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like, oh, it's a guy with a bad sense of humor, but I think it all comes down to vibe. It's just like, it's just guy just doesn't vibe.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And these guys mentioned wanting to keep the friendship going. I think that's is somewhat mutual, where it's like you kind of do love your schmall because he's your schmall. You know what I mean? Like it's your guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe the schmoll's putting forth more effort, or he's kind of like the dude who's always trying to hang out, like the tryhard. It's not quite like that. You know what I mean? Like he's there. It's interesting, and every situation's unique.
I mean, he could be a tryhard, but still like he just does the wrong thing all the time.
Totally.
It's like, yeah, it's the wrong vibe.
Exactly right. Like you guys are going, like we're going out to a country western bar, and then you wear maybe a cowboy hat and put a flannel on, and then my buddy AJ shows up wearing a purple V-neck and a leather jacket, and he knew we were going to a country western bar that night, and we're like, what are you doing? He just wanted to be different to get attention for himself. Like that's a pure schmoll. It's like, I would say it's almost like a little brother. You know what I mean? It's kind of that dynamic where it's like you love him, he's blood, he's family, and sometimes you don't always like him, but you love him.
Yeah.
And you got to sometimes just cock the fist back and be like, dude, do I need to sock you in the arm right now? Go change your outfit. Don't ever do that. It's kind of like that. All right, dude, Strider, what up? You mentioned on the Going Deep pod that you're fired up on your morning wood. I haven't had a morning time boner in years. Any advice or insight into what might be causing your sudden rise in AM boners and how I can get some going? Thank you, Hunter.
If I may step in here.
Please.
And I didn't have a problem with this, but go see a endocrinologist.
Yeah.
You may have a hormone thing going on.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's probably like, what would they give you, a shot or a vitamin supplement?
No,
or
there's
a
probably
diet?
some medication you can get on that'll bring all that all back. I would check just to see.
Yeah, that can't hurt.
Because that's natural. That should be happening, with some regularity.
Yeah, you want to get your morning boners, dude. And mine, I just came back. I think I just got like, sometimes what I'll do is like before bed, I'll just listen to some fire ass, like, dubstep or something like that. Going to bed, putting myself in like a good mindset. I think if you want to go the natural path, listen to some dubstep, play some like, get some lasers involved, get a laser pointer, turn the lights off, go around with it, maybe a flashlight, dude, get a little strobe effect going and just sort of have a nice little dance party by yourself, dude, pump yourself up. So get that blood moving, dude, even if it's just push-ups. Then get into bed, don't fall asleep for 3 hours because of that, and then wake up with a nice fat boner, dude, is sick. Also, diet, I'd say. So I'd say probably getting into bed, that's the trick. You want to do that laser party, dance party by yourself around maybe 8 p.m. Do it for an hour so you're in bed by 9. Fall asleep at midnight, wake up the next day at 7, you've had a nice healthy rest, your boner's going to be, your penis is going to be ready to go. I think that's going to really help out.
I would also say, ask this guy how much he's drilling himself. That's
true. Are you really? Yeah, if you're really having at your penis with your hand, then it's going to keep your boners from going down. Yeah, maybe stay out of the drill factory a few days. That's a great call, Aaron. Mm-hmm. See what happens.
Yeah. Stay
out of the drill factory a few days. And honestly, great advice by and large for everyone. Don't be going to the drill factory too much, Take a day off here and there. Like anything, there's diminishing returns, economic principle, dude. Just really balance it out, dude. You want to have that balance, dude. And then you're going to appreciate it more, you know what I mean? All right, dude, let's do one more. What up, Strider and Aaron? My GF and I have been dating for about 3.5 years. Graduated from college May of 2020, and we're both living in Chicago right now. Nice, Chicago. Where's the PI? We're planning on moving in together in June, and I couldn't be more stoked to live with my woman. Amazing, dude. Our relationship is really solid, and we spend a lot of time together as it is. We're both from the same city, and our parents have gotten to know each other more recently, so things have been progressing at an exceptional pace. Very nice. It's always nice when the in-laws get along. Future in-laws, what up, dude? We're both tidy and clean individuals. We have similar tastes in food, music, and art, and genuinely enjoy being around each other's family and friends. Do you and Aaron have any tips on moving in with your significant other? Also, how do you go about making sure you spend enough time with your boys when some of them are still living that post-college life? Appreciate your help. Cheers. Great questions. These are, they're just great transitionary lifestyle questions. You know, you're getting to that quarter century age. You found a woman who you love. You're going to settle down. You're moving in together. The families are getting along. Things are going great. As far as moving in together, I'd say don't ever get a studio. At least have a 1-bedroom, so one of you can be in the living room or the bedroom. The more rooms you can have in space, obviously, the better, but, you know, don't break the bank. Because you want to respect the individual while at the same time cherishing and both contributing to the relationship, which is constantly evolving and you're recommitting to every day. And you can make that easy on yourself by, you know, having fun date nights in, you know, surprise freak dance parties, which I love doing, putting on music while we're cooking, and then freaking, which also will help your morning woods, by the way, to Hunter. And so there's fun little things you can do, but I would say respecting each other as individuals and realizing that the relationship is something you're both in, but at the same time having your own back too. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, everything you said, and you know, just remembering that you are individuals, you have individual interests and stuff outside that you should still hold on to and be interested in, and so you'll get your time with the boys there. I think the space thing is really, really huge. Like, you got to have space to kind of do your own thing, which you said. I mean, if you had any doubts about it, you wouldn't do it. So, or you shouldn't do it. I didn't have any doubts, so that's what we did.
Did exactly same. And he mentioned the tidiness and cleanliness thing. I'd say this: I'm dirtier than my dank ass fiance for sure. Like, I can deal with grime, but I'm tidier. She'll have a few things out and about, which honestly doesn't really bother me. But if any pile gets crazy, like I'll just be like, hey, if you want to have a pile of clothes or whatever somewhere, like just have it not be in a pathway that's like shared. So if it's like her side of the bed or area, it really doesn't bother me. But if it's like in the entrance to the shower, which, you know, never happens, I'm just using that for hyperbole. It's like, well, okay, let's talk about this. So just fair, honest communication. You know what I mean? Like, that's always going to be freaking legit. Yeah. Also, I found that because I've been gaming a lot, and you're speaking about hanging out with your boys, right? I found time I'm gaming with my boys was legit, and I'm home, and I was like, well, I'm home, but I'm also with the boys. But then my dank ass fiance was like, hey, you know, we haven't like gone to bed at the same time in like a week or something like that. I was like, whoa, you're right. So just making sure and checking in, you know, do you and your wife go to bed at the same time a lot, Aaron? I mean, now you have a kid, so who the hell knows?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would stay up longer, but yeah, it's just like, it's all right. I'll just go to bed.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't have to be like, oh, it's bedtime, we're going to bed now. It's like, but you know, sometimes it's kind of nice if you guys do that at the same time every once in a while. It's cute. And then as far as kicking it with your boys, dude, I mean, dude, have a housewarming party, bro. Get them over there, dude. Make them part of the fam, dude. You know what I mean? It doesn't need to be like separation of church and state here, dude. Relationship and boys, you know what I mean? Have them over, dude. You know, show them your freaking sick-ass new sconces. Show them your sick-ass new Denza. You know, have them, you know, I don't know if it's a take your shoes off house. Hopefully it's not, but if it is, chill. Have them respect that rule. Come in here and be like, dude, the first rule of when you enter my home is you got to rip this Ruppelman shot, and then have them do it, and then you're having a great time. Have them over to watch the game. You and your freaking woman, as you said, can cook a sick-ass meal, dude, together. Have a fun activity together. Have them over. It's fun to entertain. I think that's kind of fun. If you have the space for it. If not, then, you know, just be like, hey, look, I'm going to kick it with the boys on Friday, and then Saturday night, let's do a movie night in, or go out and kick it with your friends, whatever the hell, you know? It's conversational. Take it week by week, you know what I'm saying? All right, dude. Aaron, anything to add, dude?
No, I think that's all good. I think check in as often as you can to make sure everything's kosher between you and the lady, because that's all that matters, ultimately. Yeah.
And have yourself a nice drill factory. You're going to want to definitely drill. So, you know, whether it be at your desk area or in the bathroom or whatever, out on the balcony, if, you know, no one can see you, That'd be sick, dude. Natural elements. Wi-Fi goes out there too, so that's legit. So yeah, do that as well. Other than that, dude, freaking stoked, dude. Legit, October's here, dude. Spooky up today, dude. Not really spooky, just terrifying. But the power of the group think, dude. It's why it's important to get information, and multiple sources, dude. All right, dude. Fired up, dude. Dank up. Thank you, Aaron. You're a beast, dude. We'll catch you freaking Dankatorians on the next one. Until then, dude, have a freaking legit week. Stay stoked, dude. Late.